Hi, it's Alistair from 01 Alchemy here. Just like to talk you through social media marketing. Now, it's going to be difficult to do in one session because the world of social media has exploded and it's changing so rapidly, it's hard to keep up with it all. And also each of the social media channels, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, all operate quite differently. There's a different blueprint for success for each one. Some of the rules overlap. And what I thought we could do is just break it down to its simplest components and really take a focus on Facebook as it's the largest social media platform in the world today. So first of all, as always, I like to break things down into its simplest components, and once again it's split into two. There's two sides to social media marketing. The first is the community management side. You've got a bunch of customers who love your brand, like to keep up with what you're talking about. And so there's an engagement that occurs every single day. And really, this is quite a labor-intensive exercise. You'll need to invest in people, either internally or use another company like 01 Alchemy to help maintain that presence and keep that going full steam ahead. The other aspect is there's a whole world of advertising options that have come out into social media. And there's a very good reason Facebook's valued in the tens of billions of dollars. And that's because it's a capital-intensive medium. If you have followed along with videos about SEO and PPC or search engine marketing, you'll remember that with SEO, it's all about optimizing your website and spending time and energy on the website itself and engaging with other websites out there. So SEO is also very labor-intensive. And pay-per-click advertising, as the name suggests, where you pay per click coming into the website, is the capital-intensive one. But unlike SEO and PPC, which can be done independently of each other, with social media marketing, the experience I've had is these two share a much stronger bond and relationship to get a result. And I'll tell you why. Let's go back to the beginning. As I mentioned before, once the horse is bolted and you've got a social media campaign underway, it really requires effort every single day and to keep it going. So the frequency here is really daily. As a rule of thumb, we tend to do one post per day for each of our customers as well as our own brands, and that keeps our audience base informed. And it's a tricky business because you've got to not put something up for the sake of it. You've really truly got to find something in the universe of things happening all around, find something that does add value to your customer base, and every day something comes along and it just adds a little smile to your followers, your likers, your customers. But more importantly, I want to talk about the maths behind the reach and engagement, because this really impacts the algorithm that Facebook has to determine how frequently your posts are going to appear. So on any given Facebook page, maybe your own, you've got all the posts that friends put up every single day, and videos and advertising, etc., etc. And it's always in motion. There's always someone posting something all the time. So without thinking about the reach and engagement, or without getting a strong reach and engagement, what tends to happen is your ads will not stand a chance. Or your message is not going to stand a chance at getting into people's feeds. It's going to get squeezed out very quickly. However, if you demonstrate to Facebook that your message, the notifications and the posts that you do on a daily basis are reached by part of your audience and they love it, the higher your engagement, then Facebook puts your post further up on other people's feeds, and then you reach even more, and it becomes a self-perpetuating cycle in the positive sense where that increases your frequency. I'll talk about the numbers now. So let's say we've got a mild like base of 10,000 people. We've got 10,000 fans and they love us. The estimated reach expressed as a percentage that I tend to go for is anywhere between 7.5% up to 15% of that base. We'll just work with round numbers today, and we'll say, right, we're expecting, or we're hoping to get 10% of our like base to see the post that we've got on today, or the special promotion that we've got, or the new product. So for that post, we've got 1,000 people will see it. And then for engagement, likewise, roughly the same amount again. Want to go for a 10% engagement rate. And so engagement is defined as someone that clicks on the post, shares it, likes it, adds a comment, basically any sort of interaction with what you've contributed to their Facebook wall. So from that 10,000 fans, 1,000 saw it and 100 engaged. Now from there, you can see how the number whittles down pretty rapidly. And then from those 100 that have engaged, we might only get another 10% below the line coming through to the website, which is 10 people. And if we just aim for a fair conversion rate of 2%, then we're going to get 0.2 conversions, whether they be bookings, leads, or sales. So that's the sort of model that we work on. If we've got 10,000 fans and we're doing a daily post, or we do 20 in a month, then 0.2 times by 20 to roll it out over a working month would be 4 sales. Now already the ROI isn't looking too great, because we've had to employ someone to spend, I don't know, half an hour a day thinking up, curating, just getting the right content out there and engaging with customers, responding to comments, and so forth. So we're investing 10 hours, if that's half an hour a day, 30 minutes, times by 20 working days. So there's 10 hours invested in this person every month. If we're only going to make 4 sales, then the cost per sale is 2.5 hours of this person's time on a monthly basis. And you can calculate what that's going to be, but in general, a qualified marketing professional in this sort of space is going to be upwards of $50 an hour. So you can say that the cost per acquisition at that base is $150. This is where the advertising side of the equation comes in, because just interacting with a low base, your die-hard customers, is labor intensive, and it just drip feeds in a few orders. So we use the advertising platforms to really, first of all, boost the like base, get this number up. And what we'll do is we'll run some numbers here. Let's say the cost per new like for a sponsored campaign on Facebook is about 25 cents. I'm not pulling that number out of my hat. It's actually, that's what we're sort of paying at the moment to build up a like base for customers. So we want to get this number to 100,000 fans to see what happens. So we're going to need 90,000 more fans. All right, so a quarter of that. So it's going to cost us $22,500. We'll spread that out over 2 years. So we'll make the budget 1K per month dedicated to just building this like base up. So while this person's employed and they're getting the handle on it and they're engaging and really creating strong bonds with customers, we're also adding 4,000 more people per month because it's 25 cents a click, 1,000 budget, so 4,000 more a month into the base. Now we'll run the numbers based on 100,000 fans. In fact, I don't even need to rewrite it all again. We just put a 0 on the end. So now we've got 100,000 fans. We've got 10,000 people looking at the message. We've now got 1,000 people interacting with that message, 100 people coming to the website, and now we've got 2 sales per day as a result, times by 20, 40 sales a month. And so you could switch this off after you get to your fan base amount, or after you've saturated your geographic or demographic market, so that you feel that you've got your diehard fans and a nice size of the market following you and passionate about your company. So you can switch this off, and then from that moment on, at the 100,000 mark, this person is extremely valuable because they're bringing in 40 sales a month inquiries or leads, and at that $50 an hour mark at 10 hours, it's only costing $500 to keep the lights on, and at the 40 sales mark, it's costing $12 for each new inquiry, lead or sale. So that's the maths of it. That's how to get it in, engineer it into a cost-effective advertising concept. Let's go beyond the like-based daily targeting community management side and also look at the other audience targeting opportunities there are. So this has been the real revolution that's hit social media advertising of late in the last couple of years. So not only can we send out a post and advertise to increase our like base, we can boost posts. So to boost a post means Lydia here posted something, fans loved it, we sold 4 items that day, which is twice as many as we normally do, and we go, you know what, that one really works. Let's boost that post a little more. And so with boosting, you've got 2 options to begin with. Let's boost it some more to our audience base some more, so our likes, likers, fans, and make sure that this reach rate isn't just 10%, let's really get it up there and get it to 30% because we know that it works and that post was really effective. So let's get it out to our captured audience and get as many sales in the door. Or we can boost outside of that and do some demographic targeting or otherwise to reach people for the first time. And that's where it gets really interesting. So what we can do with Facebook in particular is say, all right, Facebook, I'm looking for a female audience between the age of 25 and 45, i.e. they've got to have a bit of money on them, and use social media a lot and not have everything they've already wanted. And then we can say basic demographics. All right, so they're in a relationship. And they live in Singapore. So this is when you can go outside of your base to reach another one and boost that post. Having said that, boosting I find is one of the lower ROI or return on investments for the advertising opportunities that are in Facebook. The one that's been working very well of late is called a lead generation post on Facebook. So with lead generation, you can send out a post, and it might be the same content as you've written here, where the post starts with an image at the top, or maybe it's a video, some content talking about the service, and with the lead generation, we can add a button to it that says, would you like to know more? Click here. And you've got the call to action built into Facebook itself. And when the user clicks that button, a survey pops up and we can ask an additional 3 questions, which can be drop downs or radio buttons or open field. And when then they send that, the power of social media is Facebook already knows their name, their age, their phone number and their email address. So once they use that lead generation, then that comes straight through to your inbox as someone that's very interested in what you've got to sell. So that one's been very powerful. But there's a bunch more. So instead of going through each one case by case, instead I'll come back to the audience targeting, and another way that you can reach an additional audience is you can supply Facebook with your database, the list of all the customers that are currently in your system, and tell Facebook, look, can I just match up and send a message out to these folks who are not already liking me on Facebook with this message? So that's one way. And then another one is called a lookalike audience. With a lookalike audience, Facebook's running all of its algorithms on behavioral traits and likes and dislikes and features that people have in their profiles. And you can say, Facebook, I've got 40,000 likes here. Everyone's just loving what I sell. They're just widget mad. They love widgets. Can you please run that list against your database of everyone, or billions of people, and find me another set of people just like that? And then I want to send this message out to them as well. So that's also proven a successful formula for being able to expand what we know as a successful formula of demographics and audience and messaging, and then use Facebook's algorithm and their tools to go and find even more customers. The last point that I'd like to make here, and I'll just add it very quickly, and it does cross over both areas of community management as well as the advertising side, is the platforms and how they work and how they differ. So the big ones are Facebook, and of course Facebook owns Instagram. We've got Google Plus, and we've got Pinterest. We've got Twitter, and there's actually a bunch of others, but let me just stick with this one here. Now, the first thing, there's so many interrelationships here, it's going to get confusing. Facebook owns Instagram, so they're both powered by the same engine, Facebook ads. The audience targeting and the lookalike audiences and some of these tools, because it's powered by Facebook's engine, you can deploy the same techniques from Facebook over to Instagram. But that's where the similarities actually stop, because the way that people use Instagram and how it adds value to people's lives is very different to the posts that they want to see on Facebook. So it's not a good idea to just run the same thing on both like that. Likewise, there's another commonality between Instagram and Pinterest in that they're both image and video nowadays focused. It's really all about the image. However, the way that people are using Pinterest is very different as well. Where Facebook and Instagram, it's about your account and you're following people that you're wanting to see. Within Pinterest, it's more about the boards that interest you. So our Pinterest strategy is actually not so much building up a Pinterest like base, but instead let's contribute to the boards that people are liking and following and watching all the time. So boards are public communities where individuals or businesses can contribute content in to an area that people are subscribed to seeing every day. So what we do is we build up the boards on Pinterest. And Pinterest actually shares a closer relationship with Google Plus in that sense. Because likewise for Google Plus, it's not so much about building up the people following on Google Plus. Instead, within Google Plus, they have these things called circles. And when you belong to a circle, or you start a circle, or contribute to a circle, that's a common interest group that all sorts of Google Plus members all over the world are all sharing and contributing to. So our strategy for Google Plus and Pinterest is alike in that it's really community focused on finding an audience that are already subscribed to another public area, whereas Facebook and Instagram are more about the person's user base and who they follow. Even though Google Plus was a clone of Facebook in essence, and Instagram is closer to Pinterest in the way that it works. And finally we have Twitter, which really sits on its own because, once again, it's not so much about using Twitter to access and grow an audience base, but what you'll find on Twitter is topics related to your industry will trend very quickly, and they'll be trend-jacked by news media or celebrities or other brands in your industry. So Twitter for us is all about finding that flow of information and topics that are taking off and interacting with others to bring about a discussion and create our awareness as a thought leader in the industry. Tying it all together again, as the most confusing board of all time, there's so many moving parts in a social media strategy. If someone comes into your business and consults to you and just sticks with the aspect of community management without discussing the maths and the results, then they're only seeing one half the equation. If someone is suggesting to you to use automated software, I think a popular one is called Hootsuite, where you post onto one thing and then it copies and pastes the content onto all of the channels all at once, know that that probably won't get the result that you're looking for, because each of these environments are very different and require a slightly different strategy. And then finally, on the numbers side, when looking at advertising options in here, it's always important to measure ROI. Have the tracking in place so that you know what this reach engagement rate is doing for you and the page long term, and then tracking how many sales come in as a result so that you can calculate how much revenue is generated, factoring in the fact that there's labor and capital being injected into the campaign, and then establishing the final ROI for the program. Thank you very much.